Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Great League Remix team to share with you guys. It is going to be Shadow Alolan Ninetales with Shadow Quagsire and Shadow Poliwrath in the back. Now I was testing out a few different teams yesterday and I didn't actually mean for this team to be all Shadows, but I kept trying different combinations with Alolan Ninetales because Alolan Ninetales was performing really well for me, and I ended up landing on this one. It just happened to be a triple shadow team, but that's okay. I think a triple shadow team is a lot cooler, and I don't know if I've ever showcased a fully triple shadow team on my channel before, so this is going to be a first, and also this team performed really well for me. I managed to climb quite a bit. I got two 4-1s in a row, and that put me really high in the 2600s. I have not played since, so we still have to see if I can reach expert. Probably not with this team because the meta is shifting against Alolan Ninetales, unfortunately. But the two biggest issues for Alolan Ninetales are going to be Registeel and Carbink is everywhere. So keep that in mind. You are going to lose against those pesky Carbink double grass teams. Unfortunately, that is a team I am seeing a lot of. If you come up against that team, well, you just top left. Don't even try playing it. Anyways, in the background really quickly, I was testing out a team with Jellicent and Greedent backline with Alolan Ninetales, but that was a terrible idea. I did not realize that this team was extremely weak to Registeel. Luckily, this game I was able to win. They had a Registeel in the back, but I saved 2 shields for Jellicent because I knew I was going to need them for my Jellicent. So I ended up winning that game, but then I realized I should change the team because that is going to be a huge issue, a really big issue. So I put Quagsire and Poliwrath on the team, and Quagsire has Mud Bomb to take care of the Empoleons. Otherwise, it is going to struggle up against Empoleon, and Empoleon is another Pokemon that I am seeing a lot of. I also like Mud Bomb because it is going to be doing neutral damage to Poliwrath. Poliwrath is also a little bit of an issue for this team because your Alolan Ninetales is running Powder Snow, so it is going to be resisted. But you have that Psyshock, of course, to fight back. Also, the Mud Bomb came in clutch against Dragon types. You'll see in this video, if I come up against a Dragon type that doesn't have that secondary Flying type, then it is going to be neutral, unlike Aqua Tail, which is resisted. So I really liked running it with Mud Bomb. I'm running Poliwrath with Power Up Punch, and in most of the cases, it is going to be your safe swap. And both Poliwrath and Quagsire can fight back against flying types. Poliwrath has that Icy Wind, and Quagsire has that Stone Edge. So I really enjoyed using this team together. But like I said, I am seeing a few more Alolan Ninetales counters, like I'm seeing more of Typhlosion, I'm seeing more Registeel, and of course, Carbink is everywhere. So keep that in mind. Just take the Alolan Ninetales, pair it with 2 water types, and you should have a pretty solid team. And really quickly before I begin, I did see that Jonkus ran a similar team and he also performed really well. Instead of the Quagsire, he was running Swampert. So that's another team you can try, another combination you can try. It worked well for him, it worked well for me. It'll probably work well for you, hopefully, if people don't start catching on. Anyways, I have a short video for you guys today. Let's just jump into the battles. Really quickly, finishing off this first one, this team was a Mew double steel team, and I had a feeling that my opponent was running a Registeel in the back, so what I did was, I didn't shield my Alolan Ninetales, and I saved a shield for my Poliwrath, knowing that my Poliwrath was going to be able to take care of Registeel with a shield up. So I just wanted to explain that really quickly, why I didn't shield my Alolan Ninetales in that situation, because I saw the double steel team before, and in my head, I thought, okay, I don't know what the last Pokemon is, but it could be a Registeel. If it is a Registeel, then I'm gonna need a shield for my Poliwrath, so I let the Surf go on my Alolan Ninetales, and lucky for me, my prediction was correct, and I was able to take that game. Otherwise, I would have lost. Now, moving on to this next game, our opponent leads Steelix, and Steelix lead is actually a really good lead for Alolan Ninetales, but I am expecting my opponent to have a water type counter in the back, so I swap into my Poliwrath to draw out that water type counter, and it looks like they are going to bring out a Sableye. Okay, So let's see how this is going to go. I am going to throw an Icy Wind up against the Sableye. My opponent is not going to let me reach another move. They are going to go for that foul play. Now I'm going to bring in my Alolan Ninetales, and I am going to throw this Weather Ball before they can reach a return. I do not want them to hit me with a return. And it looks like my opponent is going to have a Tentacruel in the back, and I have a Quagsire left. So I thought as soon as my opponent would see the Quagsire, they would just top left. But I guess there's always that lag win condition or my app crashes win condition. So I guess they're staying in. I'm gonna go for these 2 Mud Bombs up against this Helix, and it looks like we are gonna be able to take both of my opponent's shields, and I am going to let this Psychic Fangs go. It's not going to be enough to take us out. And I'm gonna have a Mud Bomb loaded up for their Tentacruel, but just to BM, I'm gonna go for that Stone Edge, and we are going to take that win. I just realized if my opponent had swapped the Tentacruel into our Poliwrath instead of the Sableye, they might have had a much better chance, but they swapped the Sableye, so it worked out for us in the end. Moving on to the next battle, oh boy, do we have a terrible lead. It is going to be a Magnezone, and I swap into Poliwrath, and my opponent actually brings in their own Poliwrath. Now, I'm not sure if I could try to win this. I go ahead and I shield, just in case maybe I can try to flip this. I'm gonna go for a Power Up Punch here, but unfortunately our opponent is dropping Air Attack with that Icy Wind. Otherwise, I think I might have been able to take him out, but now I'm gonna bring in my Alolan Ninetales, take the Scald, and my switch timer is up, so I'm immediately going to swap into my Quagsire and just hope that whatever my opponent has in the back, my Quagsire will be able to take care of it. Okay, they have a Mandibuzz. We might have a chance here. I have to play this perfectly. I cannot let my opponent sneak any moves in. I cannot give them any free energy, so I have to throw at the best timing possible. I'm gonna go for these Stone Edges. I went immediately for a Stone Edge on the first move. I didn't want to risk baiting with a Mud Bomb. I am going to survive a Dark Pulse here, and I should be able to reach that Stone Edge on CMP tie. Quagsire is going to win CMP over Mandibuzz, and we can take that Mandibuzz out. But here, I reach the Mud Bomb on CMP with the Magnezone, and I know that Quagsire is going to lose CMP to the Magnezone, so I swap out, catch the move on Ninetales, I save that Mud Bomb, take the Magnezone out, and then we take that win. Now, if my Alolan Ninetales had had a little bit more energy, I might have been able to reach a move on it, but I knew that Alolan Ninetales was not going to be able to reach a move, so I had to make that catch. Luckily for us, it works out, and we're able to take that win. And that gives us a 4-1 in that first set. Moving on to the next set, we are going to see a Shadow Galvantula on the lead in the first game. And lucky for us, Alolan Ninetales can outpace to these Weather Balls, so we're able to take a shield from our opponent. I decide to shield back, thinking that this might be Discharge or Lunge, but it's Cross Poison, so I have to double shield my Alolan Ninetales here, or I can go for a catch on Quagsire, which we do successfully. We take that Cross Poison, but our opponent is staying in and getting a little bit more energy, and then they are going to swap into a Deoxys. I was expecting a harder counter to Mudboys in the back, but it looks like Deoxys is going to be their better answer, and I go for that Stone Edge. They don't have any shields left, and then I am able to reach a Mud Bomb as well, but they are going to get to that Psycho Boost and take our Quagsire out. And this is where the game messes up for me. For some reason, I lose a turn. I'm not able to CMP tie on the Weather Ball against the Deoxys. And if I had, I would have been able to take the Deoxys out, live for the Galvantula. They would have had to bring in their Galvantula and go for a move against my Alolan Ninetales. Instead of going for a move against Poliwrath, I wouldn't have had to use a shield against Galvantula. I would have had it for this Gligar, and I might have been able to win this game. I lost because I lagged for one turn up against the Deoxys, and I could not CMP tie on the move, which was really annoying, but oh well, it happens. Anyways, moving on to the next battle, I was just hoping that this Alolan Ninetales would not have Charm because it would absolutely destroy our team. Luckily for us, they are running Powder Snow. Now, I build up to a potential Dazzling Gleam, which is why I am able to get a shield from our opponent here. But I just have Psyshock. I'm going to be able to go for another Psyshock here. And I decide to let my Alolan Ninetales go. I'm going to bring in Poliwrath, and I'm going to farm this Alolan Ninetales down. Luckily for us, like I said, they don't have that charm. Our opponent is going to be running their own Poliwrath. I have Power Punch, and most likely our opponent is going to have Icy Wind and Scald, which are both going to be resisted. We are going to be boosting our attack. I'm expecting this to be an Icy Wind, but I go ahead and I shield because I really want to get this Poliwrath out of the way. Luckily, we're able to win that, and our opponent has their own Quagsire in the back, so we are running the exact same team. I'm able to get their final shield, and then I can bring in my own Quagsire. I'm gonna no-shield this. Of course, they have Aqua Tail, but we have Mud Bomb. I'm gonna use my final shield here, and I'm not going to CMP tie on the move. I'm going to throw the Mud Bomb, one Mud Shot before they reach the move, and just hoping that this Mud Bomb is enough to take them out. It is. We take that win. GG's to the opponent. Moving on to the next battle, we are going to see another Galvantula on the lead. And we've seen that they like to run Cross Poison, so I'm just hoping that this one is running the standard moveset of Lunge and Discharge. I'm going to go for this Weather Ball and take their first shield, and I'm going to go ahead and mirror the shield. Let's see what my opponent decides to throw. They throw a Discharge, and I waited a little bit before throwing the move. Our opponent swaps into Steelix, and I should be swapping out immediately. I go for a Weather Ball for some reason. I weaken it, that's fine. And then I'm going to swap into my Quagsire. I'm going to go for a Mud Bomb before my opponent can hit me with another Psychic Fangs. They let the Mud Bomb go, but they actually survive, which is so annoying. Okay, I see now why I probably needed to throw that Weather Ball. Anyways, we managed to Mud Shot the Steelix down and have a move stored for the Galvantula. We take their final shield, and I'm okay with letting the Quagsire go here. I'm hoping that whatever they have in the back, my Poliwrath is going to be able to handle it. I even have a shield left. It's going to be Carbink, and our opponent just goes ahead and top lefts as soon as they see our final Pokemon. On to the next opponent, we are going to see a Shadow Dragonite, which is an amazing lead for us. Our opponent swaps into a Ferrothorn. Okay, I'm going to weaken it with a Weather Ball, and then I'm going to swap into my Poliwrath, and I'm going to go for a full Farm Down. I'm going to shield once, and I don't think they should be able to reach another Power Whip. They don't. We have a lot of energy on Poliwrath, and our opponent just goes ahead and top lefts. Moving on to the final battle of the video, and also my favorite battle of the video, we get a terrible lead of Shadow Empoleon. I swap out immediately into our Poliwrath, and our opponent brings in a Sableye. I'm gonna go for an Icy Wind to debuff our opponent, and I should be able to reach another move. But look what happens here. I lag for I don't know how many turns. I have no idea how much energy my opponent has. But when we get back, we're able to reach a move, and at least we take a shield from our opponent. Now, I am going to bring in Alolan Ninetales and take this return, but only because I have a feeling I know what my opponent has in the back. I have a feeling it might be another Ghost type. It is. It's Giratina, and this is where Mud Bomb is going to shine. I just need 2 Mud Bombs to take this Giratina out, and I am going to go ahead and invest both of my shields into my Quagsire here and build up to back-to-back Mud Bombs, and our opponent knows that we have back-to-back. So I'm thinking I might have to undercharge this because I need a little bit of energy to be able to reach 2 Mud Bombs up against the Empoleon in case the opponent decides to save their final shield for their Empoleon. Luckily for us, their Giratina survives with just enough HP for us to get enough energy to reach the 2 Mud Bombs that we need for the Empoleon, and we're able to take that win, and that's going to be another 4-1 with this team. That's going to bring us to the end of our video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like my content, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like. It helps me out so much. Let me know if you try this team and if it works out for you. I did have to get a little bit creative with how I played it, but that is the fun of GBL. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.